Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Player's Edge. As you see on the screen, there's a fifth person to join us. That's Kaitlin Free. Kaitlin, how are you this evening? Kaitlin is muted. Let's unmute her. Are you there, Kaitlin?
Yes, I'm good.
All
Hope
right.
you guys are doing well. Also, super excited to be joining you guys. This is my first time here, and
I think I accidentally muted you. I'm sorry, Kaitlin. The first time here, you were saying? Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, so we're doing our best. What was it? Commercial. What was it? Verizon, right?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, indeed. We can hear you.
Okay.
So just a quick introduction. We have Terry Hollywood Hay, and he's out on our West Coast. We have our resident Singapore player. That's Kanji Tom over there, right? And then you were communicating with our producer, Swiss Army Shawn, because he does everything. So I was reading on your Twitter feed that you're into cats and horses. Cats, I understand. But tell us, how did you get into horse racing?
It's a little strange. My family has been super involved with harness racing my whole life. So that's kind of what I grew up around. Didn't really grow up around thoroughbreds, but I just find the thoroughbreds to be a little bit more exciting. And I went to college and received a veterinary degree for a veterinary technician in equine health and therapy. So I've just been around horses in that capacity, but I like talking about them. I like being around them. I just find them super therapeutic, but I love thoroughbreds.
I like winning money on them.
Me too.
How about you guys? You like all make money on the horses too?
Absolutely.
Well, that's the goal tonight, to see if, in the words of Carl Broberg, our picks can help you stuff your pockets full of cash. So let's get cracking, because Kaitlin is pressed for time this evening. So we want to make sure that we can get all this information out. The first race that we're working on today, instead of doing one track like we normally do, we decided we'll go across different tracks to hit the three biggest staked races at Aqueduct, Churchill, and Del Mar. We'll start in the New York track. That is the Red Smith Stakes. It's a grade 2 affair, 1 3/8 miles on the turf course. So when you do your handicapping, Kaitlin, what sort of handicapper are you? A trip handicapper, or how do you go about making your picks?
There's a lot of different, things I use. I look at DRF, I look at Brisnet. I also look at some trip notes. I look at thoroughgraphs. So I kind of tie all of that in together. And a lot of the stakes horses, allowance horses, and most horses on the Kentucky circuit I know pretty well. So just kind of also based off memory. But I'm big into the jockey and trainer percentages. I think those are kind of something that people really should pay a lot more attention to, like, rather than a lot of the figures. I just think that that's something that's really important. And there's a lot of good things jumping off at me in this Red Smith.
All right. So get us started. Who do you like and why do you like them?
This actually looks like a pretty tough field. I had to look at a lot of it. I know Channel Cat was one that kind of got pushed out of the Breeders' Cup picture, but really when you take a look at it, a lot of them are really easy matched. I don't really want to play the chalk right away, but I think one I'm going to have a look at to maybe see can step up coming out of some really good races is maybe going to be Soldier Rising. I like the step up in distance for him. Ran a really good race behind Ubeer, who we know won the Breeders' Cup Turf last out 2 back. He's been training really, really well. Christophe Clement. Clement's barn is kind of getting better and better. He's got Irad Ortiz up. Franco has been a fantastic sire this year. So I really like him. And I also really like Value Engineering. Big step up in class, but I like the distance coming up a little bit for him. Chad Brown's barn is hot. And Dylan Davis has been riding really well at Aqueduct. So it's just a wide open race for me. I know the most obvious horse is going to be Serve the King. But I just don't love a lot of the races that he's come out of, because Rock Emperor, Tribhuvan, Devamani, those horses just really haven't done a lot for me lately. So I'm going to look back to maybe some better back class on some of the other horses that are better prices.
Sounds good. How about you, Terry? What are you going to do?
I like number 7, Price Talk. Has won 2 races in a row, and is the second most lightly raced horse in the field, having run just 8 times and won 4 of those. Last November, in only the 4th start of his career, finished 3rd in the Giopani Stakes on the Aqueduct turf. and he's improved in his last 3 races, and I see no reason he can't continue. And then I like number 2, Value Engineering. Ran 3rd in his last race and always seems to be in the mix. He has finished 100% of the time in the money, winning 27% of those races. And Chad Brown, in the last 14 days, has had 19 starts, 7 wins, 2 seconds, and 4 thirds. And I like number 4, Serve the King. Like Price Talk, he has won 4 races in his career, and he won the John Call Stake at a longer distance, 1 mile and 5/8, with a career best 107 speed figure. And then he ran second in the tougher John Hirsch Turf Classic with a similar 105 figure effort. Irad Ortiz returns to ride in the Red Smith, giving Serve the King a strong chance for another competitive effort. And then my 4th pick would be number 5, Shamrocket. Has 20 career races, winning 4 of those, running second 6 times, and third 7 times. He won the point of entry stakes at 1.5 miles last race and earned a career best buyer of 109. And he's very competitive with this field. So that's how I see it.
Tom, are you going to start with the Longchamp horse from France?
No.
No, surprise, surprise.
I'm going to take number 9, No Word, is my top choice. His last race, he got a high speed fit rating figure, but it was a pretty wild trip. He was 2 wide, then 5 wide, then he shifted out, then back, and he only lost by 2.5 lengths. So I think throwing a new jockey on there may help this horse. He's great at stakes placed, but his wins are only in maiden and optional claimers. So it's a grade 3, so it's not the top bunch, but we're grade 2 or grade 3, I forget.
This grade 2.
Grade 2. And but he's going to be running late. It's the matter of with him is can he get through? And I think that's really the key. I like the fact that he's now going to run 3 turns and going to have some time to set up. And I think a longer race is really going to help this horse. I did take the favorite, number 4, Serve the King, as my second choice. 2 races were 4th finish, but he was making gains in all those races. Got a restricted race win at Saratoga. He's placed a grade 1 last time out, and it was a good effort. Is it good enough to beat this bunch? No, but it's good enough to finish in the money. Did take number 3, Soldier Rising, in my final choice. The only problem, people have already talked about stuff. I like Ortiz, Jose back on him. Remember, this is only a maiden winner. A maiden and that was a listed race and then a handicap winner. So it's not like it's broken these great records or anything. So behind your bar, yeah, he did something special last time out, but this one hasn't. And so let's see what he can do.
What do you think, Shawn? Who's going to do what?
Well, I got number 2, Value Engineering. Horse is always right there, like Terry said. 11 career races, every one has been in the trifecta. Gets a jockey change from Javier Castellano to Dylan Davis, and who would have thought? But that's an upgrade right now, the way Dylan Davis is riding versus Castellano. Gets a nice post and has beaten some of these horses in the past. And then I went Channel Cat, getting blinkers. Always does better lately with the change of being out front. And there's really not much speed in here besides the number 1, Tide of the Sea. And I think the 7 could sit behind him if he doesn't get the lead. He's battle contested and always in tough races. Could get a nice trip here. And then I went with the number 10, Price Talk. Won 4 of 8 races, but never faced the field as tough as this. But if you get a price of 8-1, worth a flyer here. Yeah,
well, that's a good price no matter what, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I'm looking at everyone kind of down talked the favorite a little bit, but I like Serve the King. You look at the 10 races, these last 10 races, 8 of them, as the way I define it, have been high quality starts. I do like Price Talk. The horse hasn't run a bad race in 8 starts. It's finished no more than 2.5 lengths behind the winner in any of them, even in that 7th place finish. And if you look at the works, some pretty good works getting ready for this one. I do like Soldier Rising, 3rd, was run down late by the Breeders' Cup winner, Yabur, 2 back, returned to Jose, as Tom and everybody else has mentioned. I think does help. Finally, I have a little bit of a long shot as my 4th pick. That's Sanctuary City. 2 wins and a pair of seconds and 5 at Aqueduct. And if you look at those late pace numbers of late, it seems like the horse is finding its legs late in the race. And with the 1 mile and 3/8, I think a little bit of a late run might make a little bit of a difference. We're going to scoot on down to Kentucky for our next race. That is is that CHILUKKI? I don't even know how to pronounce that. Does anybody have any idea how to pronounce that?
CHILUKKI.
CHILUKKI. Okay, CHILUKKI. It's a grade 3, 300,000. It's a 1 mile race. And as we talked about before, many times at Churchill, because it's a 1-turn race, even though 1 mile would be designated as a route, probably best to look at it as a sprint. How do you see this race playing out, Kaitlin?
This is a really interesting race to me. I thought it drew a really good group for a grade 3. Some really nice fillies in here. The one that definitely has my attention is going to be the number 2, Sally's Curl, and she's morning line 10-1. Not in her best form, but if you look back in her form, mile is her best distance, and Churchill Downs is by far her favorite track. I think she's going to get a decent pace to run at in here, and like I said, she'll have to step up her form a little bit. But, a lot of these fillies in this race are kind of running around that 80 to 90 buyer figure land. So she'll just kind of have to get back to last year's form to be really competitive in here. But this is her favorite distance. This is her favorite track. Brian Hernandez is a great jockey for her. So I really like her, and I think I'm going to get a good price on her. So she's definitely going to be my top choice. And then I'll obviously have to look to the favorite Matera. She comes from a great family out of that damn Miss Macy Sue, who just does nothing but produce. Going to have to Liam's map, and not this time. She's with Brad Cox and Ferran Giroux. Obviously, you can't beat that pair. So those will be my top 2 choices, the 2 and the 3.
The 2 and the 3. And then for you, Tom, what are your top choices?
I took number 7, Obligatory, as my top choice. I tossed the last race out. Post position was not good. It was a mess. Went off as the favorite, too, which really just awful race. Previously, it was second in a grade 1 at Prax in the collation. I tried, but it didn't get there. It does have a win over the track at Churchill in a grade 2 at 7 furlongs. I like that. I really think it's dropping a little in class to this race. It's mainly been racing grade 1s and grades 2s. So, since breaking its maiden. So it's pretty good. And I think adding Joel Rosario can't hurt anything. Number 8. Prince Causeway is my next choice. Showed nice speed in the last race, won by a length and a quarter, but it was on the turf. Okay, well, but it's got 5 starts in the dirt. And it's won twice, so it has won at 7 furlongs at Churchill on the dirt. I'm thinking if nobody else shows any speed, then that's a good chance in this race. This one could go wire to wire, and so I'd watch out for this one. And I'm going to take a little bit of a chance on number 6. It's Cold in the Hair. Yeah. Well, the Hair was the sprinter. Claimed for 25,000. She won that race. She's won since other optional claimers and claiming races at Churchill and Keeneland. She loves Churchill. 8 starts, 4 wins, 1 second, 2 thirds. Can't complain about that. Is 1 turn an issue for her for a mile? Never won at a mile. Yeah. I think it's interesting placement by Norm Cassie. And the other issue possibly could be the Lasix. No Lasix for a change. So we'll see.
Shawn, you like to pace handicap. So Tom mentioned you can have some lone speed in here. Do you see lone speed, and are you going to play it that way?
No, I think there's enough horses with pace in here. I picked somebody, number 4, Miss Bigley. She could be on the lead. I think she's going to sit right off there. She's 5 out of 6 at the distance, 4 to 4 in the trifecta at Churchill. Matter of fact, if you look at her fast dirt track and her off dirt track, 13 starts and 7 wins, and always in the money. So this horse is always right there. Martin Garcia rides her really well. And then I went with number 1, She Can't Sing.
Neither can you.
Yeah, neither can I. So that's part of it.
Maybe I can. I don't know. I never tried.
Tyler Gaffleone's been hot. 6 out of 6 the other day. Just been on a tear. Another one that should just be sitting behind the leader. Be right there with the rail. And then number 3, Matera, 2 out of 3 at distance. 1 race at Churchill, only a 4. So that's kind of why I put her 3rd. But Florent Giroux is 3 for 3 on her. She's like an all or nothing horse too. 4 wins out of 8 starts, and then only a 3rd after that.
Reading my notes, huh?
Yeah. So 4-1-3 for me.
4-1-3 for Shawn. Terry, how about you?
Well, I like number 4, Miss Bigley, just like Shawn does. And of course, ran third in the last race after checking hard at the 5/16. And like he said, she's won 5 out of 6 starts. And she's also finished 100% of the time at Churchill in the money, winning 25% of those races. And then I like number 7, Obligatory, won the 8 bells in April. And she has earned 2 seconds in a pair of grade 1 races this year. She has the highest earnings per race than any of the other entries. And then I like number 5, Pass the Plate, returns to the dirt, which I think she prefers. This filly is not good from coming out of the gate, but will do her best work starting at the head of the lane. And she has Smokin' Joe Telemo in the irons, who has had the best results as her jockey. And then I like number 3, Matera, won 3 races in a row and then tried a grade 3 race, finishing a respectable 4th at Churchill Downs. She has hot trainer Brad Cox and Florent Guerreau. In the last 14 days, they've had 13 mounts, 4 wins of 2nd and a 3rd.
Rolling, kind of like Terry and I on our pick 4s in the Daily Show. But for me, this race, I like Obligatory. I'm big on cycles. The horse is making its 3rd race after a layoff. It's got two wins to its name, and one of those wins came in its only other 3-race cycle in the 3rd race. So I think it's going to be she'll be at her top form. Miss Bigley, as they've mentioned, Shawn mentioned, a horse for the distance, winning 5 of 6. But if you look at any other distances, only has 1 win in 17 tries at another distance. So clearly, this is the right distance, 1 mile. I do like Matera as well, but it's an all or nothing horse, and those all or nothing horses, you should probably put it on top, but I feel like some other horses are better. But 3 of those wins came so far in 2021 in 4 races. So it looks like she's in form right now. And I also like She Can't Sing, crushed them by 5.5 lengths in her last, was the top last race speed figure, which people know hits at a pretty high rate. So the last race we're going to do tonight is in Del Mar. It is the Native Diver Stakes. It is a grade 3 at the Del Mar track, and that race is 1 1/8 miles on the main track there. We all talked about She Can't Sing. Can you sing, Kaitlin?
Not very well. I prefer to just talk. So
for sure. So at this race out here and out on the West Coast, coming in from the Breeders' Cup, what did we learn at the Breeders' Cup, and how do you think that might play with your picks here?
The Breeders' Cup surface at Del Mar, I feel like played pretty fair. So I don't really think we're going to have to worry about front runners versus closers and it being different. But who knows? The Breeders' Cup has been 2 weeks ago, so it may play totally different. I'm not sure how much it will take into effect. One thing I do know is 8 Rings is the first horse to make a start since the Breeders' Cup that ran in the Breeders' Cup. So he's going to be the first one to make it back to the races. I don't like 8 Rings in the spot. I know his numbers are definitely the best, but I kind of follow a lot of jockey patterns when it comes to Bob Baffert, and he kind of puts certain jockeys on horses that he knows what horse is training the best. And I kind of looked at that, and I really looked at the numbers back. I threw the last race out just because I thought it wasn't a very good race for this horse. He was also up against Cezanne, and that has been quite a long time. This horse is decent off layoff, so I'm going to go with Axeman in this race to number 7. Axeman has always been a horse I really, really like. He has Mike Smith up, and once again, even though I said I'm not sure, that the surface, having had the Breeders' Cup there, if we'll be seeing speed and fade, or what it will be, but I do know that Axeman will be lone speed in this race, and whether Mike Smith sends him to the front or not, I hope he does, because I think that's his best chance of winning. I think around this distance is probably going to be his best, so I really like that. I like a lot of the back class he has, but I think Axeman is going to be my choice in here. Hopefully we'll maybe get around 4 or 5 to 1 on him, but I like Mike Smith and him together.
Anybody else? All right. Shawn, how about you?
I'm actually going with 8 Rings. I thought 8 Ring. I mean, Axeman has some speed, but I thought 8 Rings was the speed of the field. He's going to face softer here, and have the speed. And when this horse gets the lead, it wins. When this horse doesn't get the lead, it doesn't win. So I think 8 Rings gets the lead and wins here. And then I went number 3, Wicked Trick. Has done well over a fast track, finishing in the exacting need of 14 career races. Raced at Del Mar for the first time last time out and finished second. Now right back and gets an upgrade in jockey through Rispoli. And then I went number 1, Established, won 2 in a row, stepping up in class. Has won at Del Mar, 1 out of 2. I also like that the horse is on the rise, and some others in here are not. So I'll take the chance of him stepping up in class.
How about you, Terry?
I like number 2, Midcourt. It's done well in graded stake races until the last one, of course, which I'm just going to ignore and throw out. He's been working steadily for today's contest. He likes the distance and Del Mar, as he has done well at both of those. And his best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. And then I like number 6, 8 Rings, completed in the Big Ass Fans Breeders' Cup Mile just 2 weeks ago, chasing the fast pace. Of course, we all know who won that, before he weakened and finished 4th, but he was only beaten 1 length for 2nd place. He has been sprinting in recent years, but running long is what he does the best. 2 starts back, he posted a gate to wire win in the allowance optional claiming race at a mile and 16th at Santa Anita, smashing his rivals by 4 lengths with the career best 103 Biznett speed rating. He raised 5 furlongs in 59.4 on Monday, which suggests 8 Rings has emerged from the dirt mile in a fine form for this contest. Then I like number 1, Established, has won his last 2 starts sprinting on the California circuit, winning allowance optional claiming races at Del Mar and Santa Anita. Both victories produced a 97 Biznett speed rating, suggesting Established is fast enough to compete at this level. And then I like number 7, Axeman. Been on a break for over 7 months, but has been turning in good works for this contest. And he shows some class back in March when he won the Santana Mile at Santa Anita by 4.5 lengths over Rest Reigned Vengeance, the 3rd place finisher in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. And if 8 Rings misfires, then Axeman's going to win.
So I see that. Tom, do you think Axeman's going to win? Who do you think?
Yes, I do.
Oh, Tom likes Axeman.
And everybody's been already cited some reasons. I like Smith on. It's been working since August, and I think they've been looking for the best spot to put this horse in for the comeback, and I think this is the spot. I took number 8, Kiss Today Goodbye. Throughout the last 3 races have been awful, but it's running against Next Go, Idol, Express Train, Tripoli. Last time when I looked, there was all grade 1 winners. This is not a grade 1 race. It comes back to the work with a work of that, especially the last one at 47-2 handily, adds blinkers. And then I had to look at the trainer stats, which is really interesting. He's a 9% win percentage out of 80 starters, but his ROI is all positive in the following things: 90 days away, first time blinkers, and in graded stakes races. So he's prepared. If he's got this horse ready, we've got a great chance to hit the board and add to a nice little price in here. Otherwise, I can kiss my money goodbye. 5, Zoo Coast. I tossed the last out. One going a mile at Del Mar, an optional claimer. He's won at this distance, but that was on the old weather up at Golden Gate. He's been in the money in both his races at Del Mar, and Flavian Pratt returns to ride. So I think Baffert made the right choice.
I have Azul Coast as my top horse because it ran by far its best 2 races at Del Mar. I do like the fact that 8 Rings ran against a much more competitive field, but then put in a bullet work since. So that tells me the horse is ready to go. Established is won 2 in a row, making its 2nd start off the bench. Resume says should improve in round 2. And Miss Midcourt is a horse that's never missed the board in 5 at Del Mar. I think 2 wins, 2 seconds, and a 3rd. So a horse for the course. That wraps up our picks for this Saturday over at 3 different tracks, the big stakes races. Kaitlin, we appreciate you joining us tonight. If folks want to keep up with you, where can they find you socially?
Well, they can find me on Twitter or Instagram. My handle is at Kaitlin E. Free. And from time to time, I am at Churchill, and you can always see me there. And I hope to see you guys there as well. I'll be there next week for the Clark. And, excited to spend my Thanksgiving there. It sucks I'll be away from my family, but, horse racing is my second family. So
quick thing about you're going to be over there with Joe Christofek, right?
Yes, Joe and I are on air buddies.
Well, I went to college with him at Columbia College. He's actually the guy who took me to the track the first time over at, I think at the time was Sportsman's Park. But even with my crazy last name, he pretends he doesn't know me anymore because of the he's in the big time. And we're just doing Thursday night podcasts. But in any case,
never pretend to do that.
That's okay. All right, Kaitlin, we do appreciate your time. We know you got to go and enjoy the rest of the evening. Shawn, for those who want to follow along with us, what should they do?
Like us on Facebook and Twitter, Horse Racing Radar, and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here.
Yes, if you like what you saw, please give us a thumbs up. Follow us on Facebook, as Shawn said, at Racing Radar. Again, if you like us, we move up the algorithms, and on Twitter, follow us as well there. Tomorrow, Tom and I will be back at 1 o'clock Eastern time in the slot where Terry and I normally do our daily show. And every Friday, Tom and I do, as Terry puts it, Foreign Fridays. Tom, what races are we covering tomorrow?
We're going to take a first-time look at racing in Singapore. And I know very little about it, but I've been educated myself over the week, and it looks very interesting. It looks like it could be very interesting, and some really interesting challenges.
Horse racing is horse racing, Tom. Last week we did some nice work in Hong Kong. We missed that. What was it? $300,000 you said in Japan.
Yeah.
Unfortunately we didn't get that one for you folks. But hey, I did hit a trifecta that paid 1,300 Hong Kong dollars, which worked out to what, Tom? About $150, something like that.
Yeah, about $150.
Yeah, I thought, wow, 1,300. I hope it's almost a 1-to-1 ratio, maybe 4-to-1. I hit a big one that I looked to the Google currency, what do they call it? The currency exchange rate. Yeah. And I was like, oh man, $130. Give me a break. All right. But anyway, we hit it. All right, folks, that wraps up tonight. What's that, Tom?
Better than losing.
Oh, that's right. I wouldn't mind $130 trifecta. That's a nice one, I think.
Yeah, but when you see 1,300, you know what I mean.
No,
you're like, wait a minute. You're expecting. I'm not expecting Weimer Republic returns.
No, I understand.
I'm expecting to see like 1,300, wait, 500, 600, but 151 out of 10. Hey, what are you going to do? Terry and I will be back on Saturday to discuss. We'll be analyzing the races at Aqueduct, so we'll be ready for post number 1 right there, and we'll go right through to the end. Been working on some nice new graphics, so hopefully they'll be helpful in us making our picks and helping you make some better picks as well. That wraps up tonight. As always, folks, we appreciate you joining us, and we hope that all of your picks end up in where do they end up, Terry?
Winner's circle.
Absolutely. Have a fantastic night, everybody, and good luck at the races.
Goodbye.